Hello guys, welcome back to ESENtaxa. Andrea Pito here, and in this video we're going to discover a new jurisdiction. In this video we are going to compare two tax regimes between two different jurisdictions, Italy and Slovenia, okay? And we're going to discover why, in most of the cases, probably Slovenia is even better than the Italian forfait regime, because we are going to compare the Italian forfait regime versus the Slovenian forfait regime, okay? So stay tuned up to the end of this video, and if this is the first time for you watching this video, here in ESENtaxa we explain how to optimize your taxes if you want to relocate to a specific country in Europe, and we help people to tax simulate their situation, personal situation, business situation, family situation, and understand if the new country of destination makes sense tax-wise or not, okay? We also help in relocation, so we also have our lawyer that works with us in order to help you to get the correct visa. This is a new service that we have recently introduced here in ESENtaxa, and we also have Open Academy. What we teach in this academy, actually we teach you all the international tax matter, tax concept, all the technicalities in a very easy manner in order for you to understand what we are talking in these videos, and also in order for you to have a grown-up level conversation when you're going to talk to a tax planner, tax advisor, whoever you want to talk to. Could be also us, because we are also tax planner, tax accountant. Also, we have in the description below the video our calendar link if you want to book with us a consultation of 1 hour, 20 minutes, 2 hours call, or simply write us at info@esentaxa.com for any other kind of request and information you might need. Now, going back to the topic of this video, here I'm going to compare the forfait regime in Italy versus the forfait regime in Slovenia. I want to repeat that Slovenia is a country that it's bordering with Italy. So the west part of Slovenia also speaks Italian. Although not all the country, but several municipalities and communes, even quite important communes in Slovenia, there is the double language officially. So documents, papers, shops, people speak both languages. So if you are planning to move to northeast of Italy and it happens that through our tax simulation you discover that the forfait regime or other tax regime are not so convenient for you, probably makes sense to just cross the border a few kilometers and you are in still Italian speaking commune municipality in a different jurisdiction with lower taxes. Sometimes to my client I always suggest, if you are moving to Italy but in an area that it's bordering in another European country, sometimes it's also advisable to tax simulate your situation in the other border country, because you might find quite a lot of tax discount there, and it's worth probably take the tax residence there, even though you are close to Italy, for example, if Italy is your country of destination, is your country of choice, okay, if you want to go there quite often. So let's go straight to the point and let's compare the two tax regimes. Both cases, so let me put here a line. In both cases we have a limit. So in both cases we are talking about forfait regimes. What does it mean forfait? Means that the country, the state, the Italian state and the Slovenian state give you for granted that you have done virtual expenses, okay? So the name is forfait for IT, forfait for Slovenia, SLO. So this is the country acronym. So in Italy it could be between 22% up to even 86% in certain scenario, while in Slovenia is always 80%, you see? So here it's already a big difference. Already you know that in Slovenia, even if you're a consultant, you don't have any expenses, you have a deduction of 80% of your income, so only 20% of your income will be taxable. Okay? While in Italy, only under certain type of activities you will be subject to 86% deduction. But if you're a consultant or an IT developer, these kind of things that you can work online, all these kind of jobs that through a laptop you can perform through a laptop, you might have a deduction from the state, a virtual deduction of only 20–30%, and that's it. So in Italy it changes based on the type of activity. In Slovenia the forfait deduction remains the same. So in both the concept of the forfait regime, the forfait deduction, virtual deduction, is exactly the same in both countries, but in Slovenia is always 80%, okay? So which is more favorable if you want to already. It's understandable that if you're a consultant, you don't have expenses, it's extremely convenient for you, huh? Then the second thing is that in both cases you don't apply the VAT. What does it mean you don't apply the VAT? It means that through local market, inside the Slovenian market and also inside the Italian market, if you sell your services to some private or other companies, you don't have to add the VAT on your top of your invoices. And there is no VAT transmission and accounting, so you spare money on your accounting with your accountant. Huh? In both cases, there is no VAT to apply on your invoices. It's extremely important. Then, another important point here is about the taxation. Italy works with 5% taxation first 5 years, and then it becomes 15% taxation, okay? So this also change in Slovenia, which is 20%, okay? In both cases, in both countries, it's a flat taxation. What does it mean, it's a flat taxation? It means that you don't accumulate this income with the rest of your incomes. So if you have worldwide incomes from other countries, or still from Italy, still from Slovenia, those other incomes, those other streams of income don't sum up at the top of this income here. This stream of income, this professional stream of income. In both cases here we're talking about professional stream of income. So you cannot apply these forfeit regimes to other type of incomes, but only when you are a freelancer, okay? So those two are separate taxation, and it's a big advantage because you don't accumulate with the rest of the income. So you don't make your income higher, and the tax bracket rates of Slovenian and Italians, they won't get higher. You don't get higher tax bracket rates. So you pay 5% the first 5 years and 15% after 5 years, okay? But this percentage are applicable after the deduction, the forfeit deduction. Exactly like in Slovenia, you first apply 80% deduction and then you apply the 20% here, okay? Now, another important point to compare is the social security. Now, in Italy you have two types of social securities. Let me switch here to the black, because it's finished, the blue one. Okay. So here we have 24% in Italy. If you perform certain kind of activity with a minimum amount of social security to pay, which is 3,700 more or less, or around 4,000 euro per year, while if you are a professional, a consultant, you pay 26%, okay? And if you don't earn anything, you pay 0%, okay? So in Italy there are two possibilities: a fixed amount of minimum that upper certain limit you pay 24 or 26, and if you don't earn anything, you don't pay any social security. So this is the case in Italy, while in Slovenia, there is no percentages, it's always per month between 450 and 500 euro, okay? Which per year is gonna be 6,000 euro, okay? But it never grows up, okay? So this is the maximum and most likely the minimum. So in Slovenia you pay this one, always fixed, and even if you make 100,000, which is the upper limit of this forfeit regime, basically you pay always 6,000 euro, okay? So it makes sense in Slovenia when you have an income closer to the limit. But indeed, what is the limit of the forfeit regime in both countries? In Italy is 85,000 euro, in Slovenia is 100,000 euro, okay? That's the difference. So Slovenia has a higher limit, okay? Finally, which is the real tax pressure and social contribution combined, okay, between those two tax regimes? In Italy, it depends based on the type of activity, because the type of activity in Italy also determines which one of the social security you have to pay. So roughly, in Italy, you will stay in the first 5 years of activity around 22%, and after 5 years it's going to be 27% more or less. Cost of contribution and taxes combined, while in Slovenia will be always 10%. Okay, why 10% in Slovenia? Because in Slovenia basically you pay always 20% of taxes after having deduct 80%, which makes an effective tax rate of only 4%. Okay, and then here you always pay 6,000 euro in, basically more or less 6,000 euro in social security. So the sum of those two on over 100,000 euro, you have in the worst case scenario 4% plus 6,000 euro, which is exactly 6% of it, huh? And in the end you're gonna pay 10%. That's it for the Slovenian and the Italian forfeit regime. I think it's quite nice to compare those tax regimes between European countries, and this is what we do in ESENtaxa, because thanks to these tricks, thanks to this level of details, we are gonna consult you in the best way possible. Because probably you are a trader, you have to sell goods, and you have a lot of deduction that the Italian state can give it to you. So forfeit regime in Italy makes more sense. But if you're a consultant, probably the forfeit regime in Slovenia is extremely more convenient for you. So you see, we always are looking for solution to accommodate your tax needs, let's say. I know that probably it's also important for you to move in a country that you like, but we also consider in this situation bordering country next to the country you're looking to move, because if the tax savings is so high, it could cover the cost of stay a little bit far from your original destination. Okay, so that's the principle of comparing sometimes tax regimes in neighboring country. The same concept is if you want to live in Switzerland, but then you want to go often to Italy, but you're paying taxes in Switzerland, which are in general cases, not always, in general cases less than the Italian taxes, or vice versa. You are a high net worth individual applying for the Italian tax regime for high net worth individual. Indeed, you pay almost no taxes if you're a millionaire. And then you can go to Switzerland, you can go to France, you can go in a neighboring country, so you can move around Europe. So the good things about Europe is that you can move easily across borders and basically seamless moving around, and you can basically choose the country of tax residence with the best tax regime, which is tailored for your specific scenario, for specific case, okay? This is a case of up to 100,000 euro, makes extremely more sense to move to Slovenia rather than Italy, especially if you're moving to Venice or Trieste area, so the northeast area of Italy, okay? I hope you like this kind of video, and if you basically like this kind of content, just subscribe the channel, notification bell, like button to always help us grow. And I repeat, in the description below the video you always find our calendar link if you need any consultation, if you want to more deep dive on this type of taxation, tax regimes. See you to the next content. Bye.